and thanks for joining me. In today's video, I'm going to show you how to use the Chroma software to embroider this really cute tote bag from Heat Transfer Warehouse. I'll have this linked in the description below. But this turned out so awesome, and all I used was the Chroma Luxe software. Now, Chroma is the software that comes with your RICOMA embroidery machine, but you can use it with absolutely any embroidery machine. It saves files in PES and DST and JEF and all the different formats. It's not just for RICOMA machines, so I want to make sure that everyone understands that. Also, this software can be used with both Windows and Macs natively. You don't have to have Parallels or Boot Camp or anything like that to install Windows on your Mac computer. I have a Mac computer and I have Chroma running on it, and it runs just perfectly. So we're just going to use the Chroma software and the fonts that come with the Chroma software, and we're going to create this fun monogram. I'm going to walk you through step by step through the Chroma Luxe software. So let's get started. So here we are in Chroma Luxe. Now, RICOMA offers 3 different levels of their embroidery software: Chroma Inspire, Chroma Plus, and Chroma Luxe. They go in order from the lowest end, which is the Chroma Inspire, that comes free with any RICOMA embroidery machine, to the highest end, which has more features. You can add more features with each level, and that is Chroma Luxe, and the middle version is Chroma Plus. Now, just because this embroidery software is put out by RICOMA, you can use this with any embroidery machine. It really is a pretty nifty software to use, and I like that you can upgrade it whenever you want. We're going to do something really simple in this software. We're just going to create a monogram, and then I'm going to stitch it out. But the main focus of this video is how to do a monogram, a circle monogram in the Chroma software. So let's get started. So the first thing we're going to do, I've already measured my blank, and I've determined I want my monogram to be about 4 by 4, somewhere in that range. So the first thing I'm going to do is click over here on the text tool, which is this T right over here to the left. Then I'm going to click on my canvas. Once I click on my canvas, you can see this text box opens over here, and you can choose your font and make some different choices. So the first thing we're going to do is, you can see this box opens up, and it's already opened on the one that we're going to use, the font that we're going to use, but you can double click right in this box, and that's going to open up all the fonts that are available to you that are built into the software. Now, I'm not getting into using outside fonts in this particular video. We're going to work with what's inside our software that we have when we purchase Chroma. Now, again, I have Luxe, so I have all of the fonts that are available in the software. If you have Inspire, you may not have as many choices here, but I have Luxe. So I am scrolling down here, and I'm looking for the monograms, and this is the one I want, this circle monogram, and it gives you a nice little thumbnail so you can kind of look at it. I could also do this one. They're all different. Some are a little more scripty and round, but I really like this one right here, the circle monogram. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to double click on it. All right, so the initials I'm going to use are RRA. A is the last name, and R is the first name, and R is the middle name. So the order that I would type those, you go, the letter to the left is typically the first name. The letter all the way to the right is typically the middle name, and then the letter in the middle is the last name. So I'm going to highlight right here in my text box, and I'm going to type it in that order. But in order to get these letters to be a little bit shorter and not all as the large letter in the middle, I'm going to use the lowercase r, and then the last name is A. I'm going to use capital A, and then I'm going to put lowercase r. So her initials are RRA, first name, middle name, last name. So I'm going to put the first name, R, in lowercase, the last name, A, in uppercase, and then the middle name, lowercase r. All right. So here I have some other options. I can change this. So I want it to be about 4 inches tall. So I'm going to type 4.00. I'm going to tab. I can change the spacing, but I'm not going to change anything because we really only have 3 letters and I have to wait and kind of see how it looks to see if I want to do anything. We can change the line spacing. Well, we only have 1 line of text, so we don't need to change anything there. Here, we can add some decorative borders. So let's see what's under here. So if you click this down arrow, you can add some of these little, they're end pieces, so to speak. So I'm going to use this one. I'm just going to click on it. All right, so it's not doing anything yet. Don't panic. We just chose it, and we can unchoose it if we decide we don't like it. The next option we have is the stitch order. We can tell it we want it to stitch from left to right. We can tell it to stitch from right to left. We can tell it to stitch from center right or from left to center. So why would we do that? Well, if you were doing a hat, then you would want to stitch that middle letter first. If you're doing a flat, it really doesn't matter. I'm just going to let it stitch from left to right. But you might have a reason that you wanted to stitch one way or the other. Really, the only thing I can think of off the top of my head is if you were doing a hat, you always stitch the center first. But this is going on a bag, so I'm just going to let it do left to right. All right, here is just some other options. You can change this to stitch in a different direction. We're doing a monogram that automatically is checked. So I'm going to click apply. And there you can see my 4-inch diagram on the screen. So it looks nice, right? Now what I noticed is it took away my decor pieces. So let's go back here and re-choose those. So I'm going to click that drop down arrow and I'm going to choose this number 1. And I'm going to click apply again. And look at that. How cool is that? So now it added those decorative pieces. If I wanted to try a different one, you can just click on it. Click on number 2, click apply. So there's that. And depending on which font you choose, you'll have different options. I like this round one, so we're going to leave it at that. Now you can go over to the next tab, and if you wanted to change this, this is going to be typed out in satin. You're probably not going to change that. If you want to change the density and the stitch length, you could. I might take that down to a, let's do 0.35. Click apply. The lower the density, the tighter the stitches. Here you can change again some more options. I'm not going to change any of this. You could change your underlay if you want. I'm not going to change anything. You can change your pull compensation if you want. If you were if you were stitching on something kind of plush that you were afraid those stitches were going to sink down and kind of not get seen a little bit, you would want to add a little pull compensation. We're not going to mess with this. This is a canvas bag. I'm not worried about my stitches sinking. And you can change options here. There are different types of options. You can just kind of scroll through. The one that I usually go to is this one, and I change my position X to 0, tab position Y to 0, and that's going to center it right in the middle of my hoop. Click apply. All right, so now it's centered in the hoop. If you want to see your hoop, you can click right up here on the hoop button, and I have added some hoops in here. I'm going to probably stitch this on, maybe I'll use the 7.5 mighty hoop. And I added that myself. If you don't see a hoop that you want, you can just type new, and then you just type in the width. So I could do my 5.5 by 5.5. It's a frame, it's a rectangle, and we'll call this 5.5 mighty hoop. Click OK. So I could choose that one and click apply. And then I can see if that's going to fit into that hoop. Click OK. All right, so now all I need to do is if I want to print this, I can print it, and I probably will. I usually do. I'm just going to go up here and click File and Print. And it's going to print it to my printer, so I'll show you what that looks like. So of course we want to save this, so we're going to go File, Save As. And you want to make sure and save this .rde file. That is your working file, so that if you want to go back and tweak something, make some changes, this is the file you're going to use. So we're going to save that first. So I'm going to type this as RAR Monogram. and I'm going to save it to my desktop, and we're going to click Save. Now that is not the file that we use to send to our machine, so we need to get that. So again, I'm going to go up here to the top, I'm going to click File, Save As, and this time I want to save it as a DST file. I'm going to stitch this on the EM1010. So I'm going to type d.dst. I'm going to take away that RDE, change it to DST, and that's what I want. Now, if you have a brother machine, you would change that to .pes. If you have a Janome, you would change that to .jef. You can see up here all the different types that this software can save in. So you can use this software for more than just RICOMA machines. Very important. So we're going to click Save. And I'm going to save that to my flash drive. All right, so that's all there is to do in Chroma. One other thing I want to mention about Chroma that is nice about this software is it does run natively on a Mac as well as Windows. So you don't have to run Parallels or anything like that, which is kind of unique for a Mac and embroidery software. I can only think of one other one that really runs well on a Mac, but Chroma does run on a Mac without any, you don't have to mirror Windows or anything like that. You just install it like you would any other program. So let's go ahead and stitch this out. I'm not going to get into lining it all up on a tote bag. I will link another video in the description below where I've done a tote bag and you can see how to line it up there. All right, so just a quick run through of the setup. We are over here at the RICOMA, and the first thing we need to do is go get our file. So we're going to go to File. We're going to go to the USB drive. It's usually the last one you saved. Let's see. Sometimes it's not, but usually it is. So there it is. We're going to tell it to send it from the USB drive to the machine using this button. Now it's on the machine, so we need to go to the machine. It will be the last one. Choose the file, and we're going to click OK. Remove embroidery status first. Okay, so I forgot to unlock it, so we just click OK. Escape, escape, unlock it. Okay, now let's go back. Go to the machine, get that file again. Okay. If you want to change the hoop size, you're going to go into Design Set. I like to choose the hoop that's closest in size to what I'm using. I'm using the 5.5 inch Mighty Hoop, my favorite. So we're going to go into the hoops, and the closest hoop is my hoop ABC. This would be a 5x7 hoop. That's the closest. You can choose other. If you choose other, the machine doesn't know how big that hoop is, so it's going to just give you an infinite embroidery field, and you're not going to be able to see your design because it's going to be really small in comparison. So I like to choose the hoop that's closest in size. So I'm going to choose C. Click OK. The machine has now centered my design in the middle of the hoop. And again, it thinks it's a 5x7 hoop. It's not. So I'm going to have to manually help it center things up. So we're just going to click OK. Other thing I need to do is set my color. So I'm going to click the spools. The color that I'm using is color number 2. And there's only one color. So just click OK. So here is the center of my design. My objective is to get needle number 1 in the middle of that design. So I'm going to click OK. I'm going to hit escape. Now I'm going to manually move hoop until needle number 1 is right under. Manually move the hoop until needle number 1 is right above my crosshair. I can pull this down to kind of double check. Looks pretty good. I want to get it pretty close because I don't have a lot of leeway here. Remember, when you're moving the arrows, you're moving the hoop, not the head. So that kind of helps you gauge. All right, let's try a trace again. That looks better. Just had a little glitch there. All right, that barely hit the back of the frame, so I'm going to push the frame back a little bit. Try it again. Do not want those heads hitting the frame. All right, now since this is pretty close, I want to do a slower trace just to make sure. So I'm going to do this, which will actually do the circle instead of a square. This way I can really check to see that it's not hitting anywhere. It goes a lot slower and it actually traces the design instead of just rounding it out to or making it a square. So that looks really good. All right, so now I'm going to remove my design. I've got a piece of tearaway stabilizer underneath. I don't need anything on the top. This is a nice flat canvas. We should have a really nice stitch. So all that's left to do is make sure the machine's in lock and click start. So as I mentioned before, Chroma is made by RICOMA, but you can use it with any embroidery machine. It is quite versatile and it is a pretty powerful embroidery software program. So it does have a free trial. I'll link it in the description below the video if you want to give it a try. Again, it's a free trial and it works with Mac and PC. If you enjoyed this video, please like, subscribe, and share. Don't forget to click that bell so that you're notified every time there's a new video. Thanks so much for watching, and as always, never stop making. See ya.